Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Colleen at crackedfemalecode.com. Okay, so I just found a YouTube short of Tony Robbins, and he says something very good, very interesting, and I want to share it with you, and then I want to share a folly. Okay, so I want to take a step back before that and share this with you. In the year 2026, we are living in a time where dating, interacting with human beings is really hard. There's a lot of narcissism going around, and I mean real narcissism, not just kind of sort of. And a lot of, okay, let me back up to psychology class. So one of the things we learned is that we, men and women, tend to marry our parent, meaning if you're a boy, you tend to marry your mother, and if you're a girl, you tend to marry your father, meaning you will be unconsciously attracted to traits that your mother or father express. So you go along through life, and one person, two person, three person, four person, five person, hundreds of people, thousands of people go right by you that will be perfect matches, but you don't date them, you don't fall in love with them, because there's no attraction to them. You're attracted to people who naturally do and express the trait of the opposite sex in your family. In other words, if you're a boy, you're going to be attracted to women who are like your mom. Now, I began to notice this when I was probably early 30s. Every girl that I dated was the same month in astrological sign as my mom. Now, whether that's real or not, I don't know, but the personality traits, absolutely. I'm trying to remember the first person. It was a girl. I don't think it was my sister, but someone says, "Man, every girl you date is exactly like your mom." Blah 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 blah. And I was like, "Holy shit!" And I thought about it. Like, God, that is so all the way back to high school. Okay, the last girl that I met last year, she hated cats, just like my mom. And now here's the difference though. That was a red flag. I thought, oh shit, here we go. Alright, so here's my point. We are not attracted to people who do not have certain traits. Whether it's a childhood thing, an unconscious thing, whatever, I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I do know for a fact I'm in my 50s. And I've worked with a lot of clients, and I'm like, yeah, sounds like you're dating your mother. Now, another one that's a really strong one is your first love. You tend to be attracted to people who are like your first love. So if she was a bitch, well, you'll find a girl who in the beginning seems so nice and so sweet, and boom, next you know, 3-6 months later, she's like that. Now, here's the deal. One of the challenges is the honesty of you to just honestly take a look at your mother. Who is she? What was she? Now, part of it is education. I didn't even know what narcissist abuse was until I was probably 40 some years old. I mean, you hear the word narcissist and narcissism, it's thrown around a lot, but I remember asking someone, like, what's that? Like, oh, it just means someone who's vain. It means they like to look at themselves in the mirror a lot, and they like to make sure their hair's done right, and, they're just kind of arrogant. I thought, well, what's the big deal about that? Because that's what I thought a narcissist was. So when someone goes, oh, that person's a narcissist, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I can handle that, no big deal. So here's the deal. I kept getting into relationships with women who were just horrible to me. I mean, monsters, and I couldn't figure it out. I mean, they weren't like that in the beginning. Now, I've done a lot of therapy, a lot of healing work, psychology therapy, NLP, hypnosis. I mean, every kind of healing work you can imagine. I've done a lot of work about understanding male and female behavior and left brain, right brain communication. And I mean, I've learned a lot, I've done a lot, and yet I kept being attracted to the same kind of woman. Now, it's not like when you first meet them, oh, they just display their worst traits in the world. Like, no, that kind of slowly comes out after a period of time. Now, most of you guys have probably never even been to a Tony Robbins seminar or motivational seminar. I spent decades reading books, going to seminars, going to college, studying psychology, and yet here I was struggling with bumping into the same type of woman, no matter where I fucking went. But I did start to notice something. I think it was in my probably late 30s, I think is when I really started catching it. I noticed this beautiful young lady was talking to me. She was into me. She was interested in me. Everything about her. She had her master's degree. I mean, you couldn't find a better partner. And yet, I was just like, man, there's just no spark. There was no, I gotta have her. You know, there was no interest. There was no attraction on any fucking level. And I thought, man, this is so fucking weird. It was like she was a plain Jane to me. It was just plain boring. Honestly, it was blah. But the thing is, she was pretty. I mean, she was fucking pretty. But there was nothing there. And I started wondering, like, what the fuck is this? And then I started becoming aware of more and more of these women that were into me, and I just had no interest. Now you think, well, it's because they were into you, Mike. No. Because these other girls that were into me, I was into them too. But later on was revealed that they had these really bad traits. So here's the deal. This thing is so unconscious. It's not even funny. So a lot of, see, the male brain's a surface level brain. Think, oh, okay, well, here's the red flags. Look out for them. Okay, got it. No, you don't. I didn't. You don't. This is not as easy as you think. These are embedded patterns inside of us. They can be changed by someone who's an NLP trainer, such as myself, an Ericksonian hypnotherapist, such as myself, because talk therapy won't change it. You have to get in there and rewire and change the actual step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5 pattern. It is a strategy, an unconscious strategy that has to be interrupted and then changed. Alright, so here's the point of this whole video. You are attracted to women because of an unconscious pattern, and that will trigger a very, very powerful sexual attraction. You're like, it's not even this is the one. It's like, wow, I gotta have this one. So here's what happens. A lot of you guys are complaining about women. There's 2 reasons. Number 1, you are so powerfully drawn to the wrong women, it's not even funny. You're not even conscious of it, and I'm not blaming you. The problem is it does something. It causes you to connect with only women of certain types that are mean, cruel, cold, narcissist, whatever it is, avoidance of, women that have the avoidant thing. And you start to really believe, and with all your heart, with all your soul, well, this is just the way women are, Mike. All women are this way. Now, here's what happens when you take on a belief. This is another unconscious pattern that our brain does. It deletes, distorts, and generalizes. Is we will look for and gather information that proves that our belief is right. So you talk to 100 guys. Oh, I had the same problem. Oh, all women are that way. So here's what you do then. You join a club. Even if it's not a conscious club where you have actual, you get a business license and, this and that, and you meet at a club. But you join a club of men that say all women are narcissists and all women are this and all women are that. And so now you come to me and say, hey, Mike, look at all the evidence I've compiled. But Mike, Dr. So-and-so wrote a book on this and he says the same thing too. Well, it's because he has the same issue. I remember in college, we had to learn how to use the library. And one of the assignments we had is we had to pick a subject, and the teacher, I think she actually wrote down, or maybe she asked us to pick a subject and she compiled a list. But regardless, there was a list, and they had things like cigarette smoking and whatever. And so and she's like, which one of these are you totally against? And I said, oh, cigarette smoking. I fucking hate cigarettes. I think they cause cancer, the worst thing in the world. And so she goes, okay, so your research, you have to go to the library and you have to gather research to prove that cigarettes don't cause cancer. And you over there, you're going to argue against Mike. And, so you're going to do this debate. And I'm like, well, no. I said, no, you misunderstand me. That's not what I believe. I believe that they do cause cancer. She goes, yeah. And that's exactly why you're going to have to go and gather research and enough evidence to prove. See, Michael, this was our final, by the way. She goes, Michael, your final grade depends on how well you do. She goes, you have to prove your burden of proof, I think is what they called it, okay? You have to prove this. I'm like, but I don't believe that. And we are arguing. And she goes, Michael, I don't care. That is the lesson, or that is the assignment. Now I was pissed. And I mean, I was pissed. So she goes, so I'm going to give you the rest of the class, go to the library, and you can start doing your research now, so you don't have to do it at lunch and whatever. But we did have to do it over the next week, for lunch and after school. We had to go to the library on our own time and research this. Well, I'm in the library and I'm pissed. I'm pissed. And the librarian walks up. She goes, you okay, Mike? I'm like, oh, I'm all right. And she goes, what's going on? And I told her the whole thing, how I have to prove that cigarettes don't prove cancer. She goes, well, here, let me help you get started. Here's the thing that blew my fucking mind. I found so many studies that proved that cigarettes don't cause cancer that I started to realize, holy shit, it's all in our mind. Now, that's another thing I started studying, was psychology and all this other, kind of psychology healing stuff. Is like, they say a lot of stuff's in their mind, because why is it that all these people over here do it and they never got cancer? I found all these studies where men, I was in China or Japan, they smoked cigarettes their whole life, lived till they're 90-some years old, never died of cancer. There was tons of information, and I won the debate. I got an A on my final. Now, without trying to prove this wrong, because I was very pissed, I was very angry, and I absolutely did not believe. I do now, though. I do believe, wow, our belief on anything. Okay, I've got a friend. He's owned a landscaping business, but a very high end. He actually went to UC Santa Barbara, got his degree in whatever it is to become landscaping, something in plants. And he's very wealthy. This dude's wealthy. He will only work on your estate if it's $300,000 or more. He lives here in the Bay Area where there's a lot of money, but he also travels all over the world. He actually went to the place where Buddha sat underneath the Bodhista tree, and now there's like a temple there. They hired him and his crew to go out there to completely redesign it. Like, that's how I think that was a $2-point-some million deal. I mean, this is how good this guy is. Here's what he said to me. I forget what brought it up. So maybe somebody said something. He goes, oh, the sun doesn't cause cancer. That's such bullshit. He goes, Michael, I have been in the sun since I was in college taking classes, because we were outside, because you have to be around the plants. He goes, I started a business immediately. He goes, Michael, I am in the sun a minimum 4 hours a day, every single day of my life. And on top of it, he has a pool. He throws pool parties on the weekends. He's out in the sun. He's out in the pool. I mean, the guy's always done it. He goes, Michael, the sun is nourishing. He goes, look around you. Look at the plants. Look at the tree. He goes, where do you think they get the energy to grow? It's from the sun. It's healthy for you. It's like a vitamin. He's never had cancer. And at the time, he was like 58 years old. Let me tell you another thing I learned about beliefs. We learned this in NLP. Beliefs are not real. They're completely made up. That's why they're called beliefs. They're not real. Otherwise, you wouldn't call them beliefs. Belief means, well, I believe it. I don't know if it's true, but this is what I believe. This is why I don't like to have beliefs. I want to understand how things work and why they work, and how to do it so I can get results. So here's the deal, that what I'm always trying to do, and this comes from an NLP background, because during the courses they They show you what a belief is, and they're like, well, have you ever had a belief that you used to absolutely believe but is no longer true? And we all said, well, yeah. And they're like, well, like, was there ever a time that you truly believed in Santa Claus? And I'll be honest with you, I did. When I was 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, I really believed in Santa Claus. And then my brother Gary, he blew that belief out of the water, says, hey, let's climb up this, because we used to had a 3-story house, and at the bottom there was like 5 or 6 steps, and you could hide there and look down the hallway and look into the living room. And he goes, see, it's Mom and Dad doing it. It's not Santa Claus. I was like, hey man, that just destroyed my belief. I also used to believe in the Tooth Fairy until Mom woke me up on accident when she was putting money underneath my pillow. Now, my dad was a phenomenal athlete. He was drafted to the pros out of high school. The problem is, okay, it's not the problem, but I used to believe my dad was Superman. Not Superman, but I just thought, man, nobody could beat up my dad. Nobody, because my dad was a pretty talented, tough motherfucker. And when I got older, I realized, like, man, my dad's not that big. And he's a tough guy, but he's not that tough. I started realizing he's not indestructible. I thought, like, oh, as long as my dad's here, we're totally safe. Nothing's going to hurt us. Well, that belief, as I got older and older, 18, 19, 20 years old, it's like, yeah, you know what? Actually, that's not true. And it was a kind of a devastating belief. I mean, devastating realization that that belief wasn't true. There are things in science that were taught back in the 70s and 80s that are now. Now, you gotta understand, back then, they were universal laws. And what happened was like, oh shit, we kind of learned some new things. Turned out we were wrong. That is not a universal law. What it really is this new belief over here. And then 20 years later, that one changed. And I was like, what the? And now, you gotta trust, it's not like this one thing changed. No, there's multiple things that physics, science, etc. They used to say this is an unchangeable universal law. This is the way it is. And you learn that, and then 10, 15 years later, some new evidence comes up, and they're saying, nah, it turns out that's not fucking true at all. And yet, at the time, when I went to college, or even high school, if you took a test on this, and you didn't check mark, yeah, I believe this is the right answer, you would fucking fail. And now, 15 years later, saying, oh, turns out that's totally fucking wrong. If you check mark that on the test now, you would fail now. It's like, Jesus Christ, make up your fucking mind. So the one thing I learned is beliefs are not real. That's why they're called beliefs. They're just beliefs. And here's the most important part. You can gather tons of information to prove your side. You can also gather tons of information to prove the other side. And you'll really, really, really believe it. Now here's the kicker. The real question, and this is what will bring clarity to you. Do your beliefs support you? That's the kicker. That's the answer you're looking for. Because your unconscious mind will do every single thing in its power to prove that this belief is true, even if it's not. Here's the interesting thing. It doesn't matter if it's true. It's going to find a way to make it look like it's true. If you believe you deserve the most beautiful girl in the world, it's going to find a way to make that happen. If you believe, well, women are all cheaters, it will find a way to make that happen. If you believe all women are bitches or all women are narcissists, I promise you, that unconscious mind will spend thousands of hours going on YouTube, gathering information, watching narcissistic abuse videos, watching videos about how women are, their nature is this way. And here's the deal. You're right. You are correct. There are a lot of women out there and men that are narcissistic, that are mean-spirited, that they're damaged goods. Maybe they're not narcissists, but they're damaged goods, and they've been hurt so many times, they're just saying, fuck it. The minute someone hurts me, I'm going to strike right back. We are living in confusing times, and there's a lot of messed up people out there. And you're going to unconsciously be attracted to people based on your life experience and your beliefs. So here's the deal. If you really want to change those beliefs on a deep, unconscious, neurological level, take my course, Crack the Female Code. The entire course is designed to interrupt your unconscious patterns and then to install new patterns, new beliefs that absolutely 100% support you. I would highly recommend as a first step, buy my book, Crack the Female Code. Okay, it's on sale right now. It is a book designed with tons of understandings, awarenesses, challenging your former beliefs, shifting your mindset, and not only that, but to help you to understand what's going on an unconscious neurological level. Another thing is, there's a lot of misunderstandings between men and women because we're different. We communicate differently. We process communication words, body language in two different parts of our brain, which give two completely different meanings to the same words, the same actions. Like, so they're intending A, but you're experiencing B. Like, whoa, what are you doing that for? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to make you happy. Like, well, why would you do that? That's mean. And she's like, what? Alright, I'll give you one real quick and I'll wrap this video up. The way a woman tries to turn a man on, attract a man, seduce a man, absolutely enrages men. And women are like, well, what are they pissed off about? Now when they're younger, they do this a lot because this is hardwired into their neurology. It's literally wired into them neurologically. It's like, well, I'm trying to turn him on sexually. I'm trying to get him to come fuck me. Like, I don't understand. What's wrong? I met a woman. I was at a coffee shop, Starbucks here in town, and I was writing, and she was really just like, you seem really focused. What are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm writing my book, Crack the Female Code. It's about how the differences between men and women, our mating systems, and she was like, well, what do you mean? Give me an example. And I went over the male to female communication. We process language in two different parts of our brain. It gives two completely different meanings to the same words. She's saying A, he's hearing B, and then they argue back and forth, and he's like, no, this means this, and she's like, no, when I say this, I mean, no, you said this and this mean, and then I explained how there's the external language, the internal, and all that stuff, and eventually she goes, well, like, give me an example. I was like, well, have you ever tried to attract a man or turn him on, and he just lost his shit and started screaming at you? And she's like, oh, yeah. I go, what'd you do? She goes, well, I tried to tease him. I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, I tried to arouse him by teasing him sexually. I go, oh no, never tease a man sexually. She goes, oh, I know, I learned. I go, what do you mean? And I'm kind of grinning because you could tell she got hammered by some dude that flipped the fuck out. And she goes, oh, I learned never, ever to tease a man sexually. And I go, why? She goes, they act like you killed their firstborn child. She goes, it doesn't make sense. I'm trying to turn him on. I go, yeah, teasing a man sexually, that does not turn us on. She goes, oh, I know. She goes, what just shocked me? I'm like, what's that? She goes, a man would rather have you tell them, no, we're not going to have sex. He's actually okay with that. But not knowing, teasing him, oh no, that flips them out. She goes, but it doesn't make any sense, because here's the deal, guys. To women, that is the biggest fucking turn on. Nothing makes a woman happier and sexier than having this ambiguous, vague, and abstract uncertainty. We're going to have sex, you're teasing her, kind of saying yes but no, pulling away. To men, we're like, oh, women, that's all they do is play games. I hate it. I remember I was with a client, we're at a club, and this girl wanted to fuck him, and she was teasing him sexually and trying to arouse, and he fucking got, oh, women, they're just fucking cunts. See, Mike, I'm like, dude, she wants to fuck you. He goes, what? And she was hot, by the way. I go, dude, she wants to have sex with you, and now you just pissed her off by telling her to fuck off. Here's the deal, guys. There's a lot of things that women do, and they're totally trying to attract you and turn you on. And you think they're trying to hurt your feelings when they're not. And they walk away just as confused as you. A lot of the issues that you have with women are complete misunderstandings. That's what the course Cracked Female Code does for you. It clears up a lot of misunderstandings. And all of a sudden it brings clarity into the room. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute. She's actually telling me to come talk to her. There in my book, Sex Signals, there's a technique that women do that is saying, hey, I want you to come approach and talk to me. That looks like she's saying, fuck off, don't talk to me, from the male brain. And I'm telling you, she's literally saying, I'm opening the gate to my front yard. I want you to come in and come talk to me. Buy my book, Crack the Female Code. Better yet, get the ultimate package. It's on sale, normally $235. It's on sale right now for $77. Guys, you get my book, Crack the Female Code, Get the Girl, Keep the Girl, and the book Sex Signals, including the intro to the hidden language, the internal language. All for $77, plus an hour and a half phone call with me to ask any questions that you have about my books. But you do have to read the book Crack the Female Code first before we do that. Get started, go to MikeColeen.com and buy my book package, the ultimate package.